What up, boys? Old Uncle 2 back with you once again. Okay, a little snippet for you today. So I'm going to talk about Bitcoin, where we're at, where we're going, etc., etc., and I'm going to talk about the ES and just updating the thoughts that you've already seen, as these always are, and trying to get my brain onto the ears of you guys. All right, so on the ES, still, you know, on a larger perspective, like I showed in that one update, I'm not really worried about Elliott Wave, right? I see the potential for an impulse to this level, right? I see for maybe nothing is even completed here, but that's why I'm tossing out Elliott Wave, because when I use Elliott Wave, and I think that when anyone uses Elliott Wave, the goal should not be to be able to identify what you think is possible. And that's sort of like inherently one of the earlier, I think, paths that you have to go down with Elliott Wave, is because as you learn the theory, you start to realize, oh, look, it could be this, it could be this, it could be this. And then once you sort of become more adept to it, you realize that it can be anything at any time. And while we need to be able to get to the point to be able to identify, you know, from a theory perspective, what it can be, once we get to that level, we have to be able to recognize that not only every possible Elliott Wave scenario, you know, and I would think that where I want you to be is to be able to identify it quickly. You know, well, I usually do it without even putting labels down, and I'd like to get you to there too, but you just got to practice. Just as soon as you see it, like, oh, well, here are the potential scenarios, and you know, maybe one slips past you every once and again, and you got to put in the work. But even, you know, now I'll stare and make sure that I'm not missing any scenarios. But you see those, but then you also are able to identify which ones are probable, because that's all that matters, is what's probable, right? So, and then once you get, you know, and that's one of the things that can happen too, once you start getting decent at Elliott Wave, that does happen. It's just a natural progression. It doesn't mean you're a douche or you're a bad, you know, guy, but just in a natural progression of things, as you get better, you start to, well, it must be this. There's no other Elliott Wave scenario it can be, so it must be this. No, you need to pump those brakes and realize that, you know, these Elliott Wave theory is very nice, but it can be anything at any time. Anyway, so what we always want to be able to do is identify probable expectation. And while at this range, I'm throwing Elliott Wave out because there's, you know, multiple things it could be. Could it be 3 to here, and we're putting it sideways, and maybe that means 3 more up to finish a corrective? Did we finish a motive to there, and then what's going on here? I do care about those things, even at the trading degree, but not from this perspective. So the perspective I care about is that I basically, so let's just look right here. I have a motive wave. I think we can all agree that's probably a motive wave. I have what is another motive wave. This is a diagonal to me. Maybe you disagree, but this is 5 clear swings to me. Sometimes I see that people that have practiced the theory for years sort of see these waves differently than I do. I like it the way I see it. I don't know what anyone's ideas on these are, but these are the types of waves that I might disagree with some folks in the Discord. But this, to me, obvious motive wave. So I can anchor motive wave, another motive wave right here. Okay, contextually, from an Elliott Wave perspective, what is the situation in which, say, now, final actionary legs for any of these? Okay, this could be a 5th. This could be a C, right? And so if this is a 5th, this can't be a C. If this is a 5th, this has to be a 1 or an A. If this is a 1 or an A, then this can't be a C. If this is a well, this could also be a C. This could also be a C. But if this is a C, then this is not a C or a 5, right? Especially that truncates to this level, it would be a 1 or a 2. Okay? So if that's a C, then that has to start something new. So using that, and I hope that you followed, is that basically this motive wave you would suspect should be a 1 or an A, because we do not have the context where it would be a C or a fifth. And we really don't have much context for this. If this is a C, then we're on our way. You know, this definitely isn't a fifth, you know. So even if this is a C, a 1 or an A or a C, you would expect that motive, corrective motive. So this wave would not, is at least a 1 or an A. Now, have we put in another motive wave off of that to put in a finished zigzag? I don't think so. You could say that this, zooming in. Sure, you could tell me that this is, but I would tell you that I don't ever, let's just say it's not very often, and when I first saw it, maybe I thought about it, it's not very often that I would suspect that a wave of this magnitude would be a relationary wave to this magnitude, unless, you know, unless it was like part of an extension. Anyway, not really relevant to here. Plus, I kind of see, you know, I can make out the case potentially for 5 in here, but I don't do that. I just see dominant pivots of 3, dominant pivots of 3, dominant pivots of probably some sort of a fifth. So this is like a flat to here. So 3, 3, 3 up. So 3 down, flat to there. A, B, C. And now, is this some sort of 1/A? Probably 1 going in, maybe diagonal type thing that doesn't really overlap. It's ugly, but you know, my inclination has been, and then just that into account, Elliott wave, I feel like up, right? Okay, so at the trading degree, I don't necessarily need to get too caught up in that because this is a little wonky, but none of this is really shaping up to me as down, right? Maybe this is resolving a B to there or something, and that's a C, and then we go down to finish a C of a reactionary leg of this, right? So, you know, before the low of this is taken out, you know, I think that not that we're already not past the high, but even if on retracement we take the high out of this again, right? Basically, before the low of this pitchfork, I think the high of this pitchfork comes, and hence these arrows that you saw, right? Now we just filter in the other things that we use, the pitchfork, the measured move. Look at this, everything unresolved targets to the upside. You know, I suspect the way things look here, this feels kind of like a C to me, potentially. Although it is a diagonal, so you would expect this to get deep. We'll have to see how this plays once it gets to here, and really, honestly, what happens here. Do we get actionary to the downside? If that's the case, then we can say, okay, maybe this did finish a fifth here to this level. If it doesn't, and we do something like, you know, say something like this, and this turns into a third, you know, like there's a lot of things that we can see from an Elliott wave perspective that we can sit here and speculate on those, but I would tell you that, in my opinion, it's wasted effort. Sure, zoom out if you have a really big perspective and you want to trade higher time frame. I'm talking to you from my perspective, as I always do. If your higher degrees perspective is long, then I think that you're fine. Like if you're like big swing and you're in it, or you wanted to get into it, whatever. If it's short and you're already in it, why are you rushing? Why are you rushing? I mean, I guess you're fine. I wouldn't feel great about it personally, because you know you're counter trend trading, right? And it depends on the degree that your perspective is, but pretty much you're counter trend trading with no confirmation to the other side, no, you know, nothing to really show that, oh, high degree of probability trend changes in, you know, whatever. I don't know. I'm not a short seller by nature. I do it, but it's just not my nature, right? Okay, so this is that's just really been a nice little Elliott wave lesson. So all suffice to say that, you know, none of this changes. I lean to this. So I wanted to give, and these are, and I'm trying to give you guys more insight into my thinking like that. Sometimes it's kind of tough, but you know, I don't know. Someone's rattling around in the brain. I was able to dig out the conscious and unconscious thought for you. So that's sort of all of the, you know, the thought that goes into a chart like this, and the updates of, hey, I'm not really considering a light wave, and that's why. And yeah, I hope this was valuable to you. Let's talk Bitcoin. All right, so I saw Monty mention Hove said something about an extended fifth last night. I wonder if it was this one that I'm showing here, that I guess you could call extended fifth. Yeah, I guess you could. And you know, I haven't even looked at it super low to see if this, yeah, that is there for that. And this looks like it was a fifth, but it wasn't. Or I'm sorry, this looks like a 5 wave, but I suppose it wasn't. That's, you know, see, this is the things, like, I will always defer to a wave count that slaps me in the face. And I'll be wrong sometimes, but I'm going to be right most of the time. And I think that folks that try to be fucking cute all the time are going to get wrecked all the time. So anyway, I'm always going to say that this is a 5 wave, a weird looking 5 wave. I didn't long this, I don't think. Yeah, I haven't been stopped at all. But I would have, you know, I would have. There's been the last couple days, I just haven't seen anything that, like, I haven't traded the last couple days just because I'm not looking to trade every move. As you guys know, I'm busy, I get distracted. I'm looking for specific setups that I find to be high quality. I want my win rate to be, you know, 80%. I don't think that's realistic for everyone because, you know, and maybe not even for me a lot of time, but it depends on the situation. I mean, I feel like if you trade the C3 kind of like fractal patterns that I look for, that I show completion of patterns, that it's really not that unheard of. You know, it's a really high win rate, but you're kind of watching a decent amount of time, which is fine for me because I'm distracted. And I keep track of so many charts for you guys. Like some of these charts I show like great setups on, I'm not even trading that chart. So I can't even like put my brain, I just don't have the brain power to like trade this shitcoin that I'm tracking for you guys. But like, I'm just not trading it. I'm trading like, you know, I probably trade Bitcoin, S&P, maybe 1-2 shitcoins, 1-2 stocks. Like that's about it. Like the only position I have that isn't like, let's see, I have some swings on from like late last year, but other than those, but like one, let's say at the trading degree, is that C3 AI stock trade. That's the only trade I have on right now, other than some swings that I've been in for quite a while. Anyhow, yeah, so I'll miss stuff, but I'm looking to get long, just like I've been showing you guys. We had hit that box that I had showed in the last snippet and said it was a minimum expectation, and it was, but now we're getting down there, and if this thing finishes out, and I hope I closed the thought on the slap you in the face stuff, by the way. I think that don't be cute, personally. And don't be cute. You don't look like a genius. Maybe that's important to you, but if you'd rather make money and find probable setups and do it the way, like, higher probability outcomes, slap you in the face counts. Anyway. So yeah, 1, 2, could be 3 here. You know, I could see this being on a time where Bitcoin likes to overlap because this like crazy 1 or something. But maybe there's some more room to the downside on this. I like this. This has always been my favorite confluence area. If we get down to the bigger box, this lower box, I'm not nearly as happy about it. Personally. Not nearly as happy about it, but it's fine because remember, I have this larger degree as, to me, oops, not like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so I have this as either A, B, C would have to go here, which I don't like, or 1, 2. Oops, shit, sorry. 1, 2. And, you know, you guys should know this, by the way. And then putting in the second 2. Right? So this is my expectation, has been my expectation, remains my expectation. 1, 2, 1, 2. because I flip bull, I say it's that one. But remember, and honestly, the main thing that really is making me stick to the bull side is the presence of this, as I don't like it, and we'll get in there and talk about that right now. But that I don't like this as a 4, 5, and I like it very much as a 3 wave to the high. You know, I say I like it very much. Like, there's definitely been things I've been more confident about in the markets, but let's dig into that for a second. So because of this 3 wave to the high, we know that it shouldn't be finishing, if that is in fact the case, the 3 wave shouldn't be finishing there, right? So that's why I'm on the bull side. Otherwise, if this is an impulse, I'm on the bear side. But let's talk about why I don't like it as an impulse. But before we do that, you know, I know that a lot of folks, including Hove, have that this whole move is an impulse, but I absolutely do not agree with that, and I never will. Doesn't slap me in the face, doesn't follow guidelines that I like. It's very yuck. So, you know, just a difference of opinion in the way we practice. And it's not, you know, I think that there's a lot of people that I see labeling this. I think I'm in the minority, but I will never not, when I see, you know, wave, similar magnitude, wave, A, B, C, 1, 2, 1, 2. And almost always when I see similar magnitude motive divided by a corrective, then similar magnitude motive, I'm almost always going to say that's a zigzag, because it almost always is. Sometimes you will be wrong, but we did see this 3 wave. So let's get into why I think it's a 3 wave now. So first of all, why I don't like this as an impulse, and then why I like that as a 3 wave and not a 4. I guess they go hand in hand. So first and foremost, the reason I don't like this as an impulse is 1, 2, short ass 3. Is 3 even shorter than 5? I don't think it would be, but it's just because the idea for an impulse is that this is a triangle, something like A, B, C, D, E. So A, B, triangle drawn like this, B, D. Okay, so triangle drawn like that. It probably falls short of post triangle thrust even. Let's just go ahead and draw the post triangle thrust for fun, since we're trying to debunk that. Yeah, falls short of post triangle thrust. You pretty much just don't ever really see that much. And then, so there's that. Doesn't even have the post triangle thrust. We have overlap of this wave and this wave are like basically the same. If the 4 and the 5 get close, I'm pretty much always going to walk away from it as a guideline of, okay, that's probably not an impulse. Because when you have the extended wave, you should have, which is a 3, which is almost always the extended wave, you should have that nice divider. Okay, if you have a different extended wave, fine. But if you're, you know, or maybe you have a case for an impulse without an extension, whatever. But if the proposed 4 overlaps with the proposed 1, then it's trash, in my opinion. Now, this is rule abiding because, you know, the air quote rule is that the terminus, orthodox end of the 4 does not overlap with the 1, which clearly it would not here. However, it is a strong guideline, and I just explained why in my personal words, that no part of the 4 should overlap with the 1. But of course, there is also the exception to the rule that, hey, in a highly leveraged market, the 4 can overlap the 1. Fine. I don't do that. I look for what do I see more often than not? And more often than not, the 4 doesn't come close to the 1. So I see those things. It raises my eyebrows. I don't like it. It does overlap. I really don't like it. We don't have the post triangle thrust met here, which is really like a minimum expectation of a triangle. Just so many, like, okay, this is wrong with this. This is wrong with this. This is wrong with this. Okay, don't like it. But, you know, if I draw a nice little base channel, so if I were to say that this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to here, 3 down to there, 3 up to there, impulse down, A. That's why the A is here. And I just take a nice little channel tool. We might break out by a hair. No, we don't. We channel perfectly, right? This is big. This expands a decent amount, but we do see that, right? That doesn't worry me that much. It is something that raises the eyebrows a bit. Raises the eyebrow less than any of the other problems I just pointed out with the impulse. Raises the eyebrow less than the post-triangle thrust, failing to meet that, what I would call minimum expectation of the thrust measurement, the 4 overlaps, all that jazz, okay? So it's nice, okay? And then not to mention, what do we do out of it? Impulse down. And then 3 off of that, which, you know, to me would be sort of like additional, you know, connector wave. Now, one thing that we would have to concern ourselves with would be, so, you know, it's still funky though, because this doesn't even meet this A. I mean, it is definitely funky. Maybe it's a zigzag down off the top of it. And if that case, you know, if we do break out of this next box, like I was saying earlier, if it gets to this box, I don't like it nearly as much. And this is why, because then we start to break out of here. Then this starts to look more like a 3 off the high. You know, and basically when you get this high B, it's like, okay, how do I draw the retracement tool for the B to retrace at least 90%? This B takes out the high of that A. You get into the intricacies and it's just like, okay, not worth, you're starting to think about too much. But I stick to the anchor point of 3 off the top, impulse to there, impulse. Corrective, so hopefully remains corrective. We break out of this channel, break out of this box area, get down to this area. I'm not going to like it nearly as much. So that's where I'm at. I have this highlighted as a potential turnaround point, but really I want this box to hold, this bottom of this base trend channel. We're at the fork now. It's sort of respecting the fork. It's looking good. This is a really long video, but you know, I'm trying to not just update you on my thoughts, but educate. So I feel good about, you know, remember we DCA'd like, I think we DCA'd here. No, maybe we didn't. No, maybe we did. I can't remember. Definitely DCA'd back here. Can't remember if we DCA'd here. You know, I think that this, if this sets up correctly, I have, you know, bag funds that I will deploy in DCA again. Personally. All right. That's the ES and Bitcoin and an Elliott wave lesson. 2 out.